All right, we are about to start our conversation with Dane County Chairman, Wisconsin Chairman for the Trump campaign, as well as the TP Action Midwest Manager, which is Turning Point Action. We're trying to get as many Trump volunteers as well as volunteers to head out to Mossady, Wisconsin this weekend, which is going to be at 1 p.m. Doors open at 9 a.m., September 7th, and that's going to be at the Central Wisconsin Airport. So I'm going to now invite my good friend Brandon Maly here to the conversation. So you guys just give me a second here. We'll get that rocking and rolling. And I'm going to start it. Okay. I'm excited about this one because Wisconsin, especially in the Madison area, is important to keep the get the students out to vote and to make sure that we have as much turnout as possible. So it's going to be really awesome to hear from Brandon and his whole thing. So I'm going to go ahead and start the conversation now. I'm going to put this up closer to the screen because Brandon is working remotely here in Wisconsin. So, and as we get started, I want to welcome you to the Ross is Right live stream. And we've got a lot of fun things happening this year. And this next, 60 days is make or break for the election. So if you don't follow me already, go to at Ross Blankenship on Twitter, at Ross Blankenship, ROSSBLANKENSHIP. Can you say it that fast? I'd love it if you could. And join me there, as well as on TikTok at Ross is Right. I'm going to post a quick video as well here. YouTube. Thank you guys for being patient. I'm going to share this with Mr. Brandon. All right. Thank you guys again for joining me. We got our conversation starting now. I'm going to post it for other people to see. Bear with me one second. This is actually a great time because generally. Good morning, Brandon. We are going to get started about 1 minute. Can you hear me okay? Brandon, make sure your audio is on and ready to rock. We are starting in 1 minute. And obviously, this is mostly a recording that we're going to do for all those interested in Wisconsin and helping Brandon and the whole team in Dane get that voter turnout. And we're going to celebrate and get ready for the Trump rally in Mossady, Wisconsin this weekend, which is going to be doors opening at 9 a.m. at the Central Wisconsin Airport. So we're going to talk about a lot of great things. Obviously, this is an early morning space. Usually my evening and afternoon ones go 300-400 people. I would just have a handful. I'll be more than happy. And it's good to see Tommy from Postcards from PA. We'll get you in there, Tommy, as well. I'm going to go ahead and post another announcement here on old Twitter. Make sure you're following me at Ross Blankenship for all the updates on the 2024 campaign, as well as for the Get Out the Vote campaign in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan. Wow, I've been asked to help in several states now. My wife's like, how many are you helping with now? I'm trying to keep it simple. But Brandon, can you hear me okay? All right. We're going to wait for Brandon to get rocking and rolling. And if he does take a little bit, I'm going to do some intro about the importance of Dane County and the research. I have only got two other people that help me do the research, and I do my own as well on my team. I'm a non-paid Trump supporter, volunteer, conservative tech entrepreneur who loves America and wants to make our country great again, just bring our country back. Very common sense stuff. So I'm going to post this now for Mr. Brandon. Right. And I am streaming on YouTube as well for my subscribers. So feel free to hop on that as well. Oh, that's why, Brandon. I got to add you as a speaker. That makes sense. Hey, we're working out these bugs. We had 3,000 people the other night join, and it overloaded the Twitter X Space server, no joke. It was incredible. So, hey, if we have 5, 10 people, 20 people that eventually join, and I want to encourage Tommy as well as Brandon to share this with your network. All right, let's get started. Brandon, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you, Rod.
All right. Well, hey, welcome. We are so delighted to have you. I'm live streaming this on YouTube as well. You can find me. Ross is right on there. And if you do get a chance, Tommy, Postcards of PA, as well as Brianna Arnold from TP Action, one of my favorite organizations out there making the Trump campaign successful. Thank you guys for all you're doing, Brianna, as well as Steve S., who's joining us as well. I'm going to just because it's a smaller group, we've had X Spaces of 3,000 plus people. We've had 150, 200, and we've had 10, 20. So whatever it takes, we're a movement, and we only have 60 days left. So we'll take it, and we're going to recruit volunteers. We're going to raise some capital. But Brandon, I want to welcome you there. And if you guys can see me on YouTube stream at Ross is Right. Brandon, welcome to the conversation. How are you doing, sir?
Doing pretty well. We had a big day in Madison, Wisconsin yesterday for Team Red.
I love to hear it. Tell me about that. What'd you guys get up to?
We had Charlie Kirk down at UW-Madison for his You're Being Brainwashed tour.
Mm-hmm.
We had Turning Point Action tent. We had college Republicans. We had Dane County Republicans, and we were capturing all of the student enthusiasm on day two of classes. We registered over 150 new voters.
Oh my gosh.
Some really good conversations with others.
I love to hear it, man. I saw Charlie's post and it was kind of funny, and I'm going to introduce you in just a second, but Charlie Kirk, who's the head of Turning Point USA and Turning Point Action, which is the grassroots organization. And he posted on his Twitter account, which I thought was hilarious. I reposted at Ross Blankenship, but he said, the media just said we had a couple dozen people turn out, and then Brandon and I saw the actual real pictures. Right, this is why the fake media versus the real live stream that I do, and all of my collective MAGA volunteers and supporters that follow me do. We showed the real picture. I mean, how many people do you estimate were on at University of Wisconsin-Madison making it happen? How many people, students, showed up?
Well, at any given time, Charlie had a crowd of several hundred. And that was for 3.5, 4 hours, students funneling in and out.
Wow.
His impact was probably to several thousand students.
That's awesome.
We interacted with hundreds and hundreds of students.
That is just such a blessing, brother. Thank you so much for all the hard work you're doing. Brandon, I knew you only have about 30 minutes or so, so we're going to do a little bit more of a truncated, shortened version for the folks. And again, if this is your first time following one of my X Spaces, we have a very small, intimate gathering here. It's in the morning. It's Friday. I didn't actually expect it. I'm actually heading out of town around 3 or 4 p.m., so I had to knock this out early this morning. But let's talk. Brandon, you are the Dane County Republican Chair and the Turning Point Action Midwest Manager. And tell me what all you're up to help Wisconsin go red this year.
Well, Wisconsin is very important. Right now, a lot of people are looking at places like Trump must win Georgia. Yes, we know that. And then Pennsylvania is very electoral college vote rich. And people are looking at Pennsylvania, but I am calling Wisconsin President Trump's electoral college insurance policy. Because if he wins the Sun Belt and for some reason loses Pennsylvania, he can hit exactly 270 electoral college votes by winning Wisconsin. Wisconsin is a place that should be +5, +6 Republican in any given election.
Yeah.
The Democrats are very, very well organized in the state, very well funded. A lot of New York and California money coming in, which we saw last year in our Supreme Court election that had a big impact. But Trump brings people out from the hills.
Yeah.
These kind of elections, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
So our job is to get people to understand the importance of Wisconsin, to keep putting resources in Wisconsin. And my job as chairman of the Dane County Republican Party is to get Republicans to invest. Because we're such a blue area, people oftentimes avoid us like the plague. These campaigns avoid us, but it's a big mistake because we're very, very vote rich. And we have a high turnout. You have to be competitive in Dane County.
So let me follow up on that, Brandon, because I think you bring up a great point, and this is something all my followers need to hear. To win an election as a GOP advisor, as a tech entrepreneur, I think slightly different and a little different paradigm than most, right? Which is that's helped me be successful in some of my ventures. But what's important is to think as a contrarian. Any campaign and election, you can go, of course, you want to go to the low propensity voters in certain counties and districts. I've analyzed those in Pennsylvania, which has been my primary focus with early vote action and turning point action. But you have to think a little differently. And what I mean by that is I held a phenomenal, I mean, hundreds of people showed up to this Allegheny County, which is where Pittsburgh, it's the heart of the most liberal place in Southwest Pennsylvania with beautiful people that are helping Allegheny, including Aaron Koper and Tista Dasgupta, who are out there making it happen. And the reason I'm bringing this up is why would I focus on some of these counties that are traditionally Democrat? Well, it's very simple. For one of the first reasons is because we have to make sure that when the news comes on November 5th, election night, the first counties and the first states to report, whether that be on Fox News, whether that be on, the Communist News Network of CNN or any other channel, they will start to talk about voter turnout in blue areas. And it's very interesting because the people in the Midwest, in sort of West Coast, right, South, et cetera, they pay attention. They hear what is the voter turnout in these blue areas, right? And so that's one of the reasons is because there's a trend, a momentum that you can carry to the other in-person voting on November 5th itself. Super important. The second reason, Brandon, of why we focus on places like Dane County, which had, I mean, it was like 3-1 Republican versus or Democrat versus Republican in 2020, is because we've got to make sure that the Republican outreach, whether it's TP Action at University of Wisconsin-Madison or another University of Wisconsin satellite branch, is present because the student Gen Z voter is so important. And those areas like University of Pittsburgh or in Allegheny County, Pennsylvania, or I actually did a great conversation. I had a great conversation with Gwinnett County down in the TP Action team outside of Atlanta. It's the same concept. Don't always do what is just seems natural. We got to work harder, and we have to work and campaign harder because you know what Democrats are good at? One thing, elections. What are Republicans good at? Policies. Bottom line, we got to think different. So, Brandon, that's an interesting point about sort of it is a blue area and you get neglected. So I'm not going to let that happen, brother. We're here for you. So let's hop and talk about what the goals are in this call, Brandon, if that works for you.
The goals are to bring in people in state that haven't volunteered before to volunteer, to donate, to support their county Republican Party, to support Turning Point. Let's set some benchmarks.
Yeah.
In Dane County, Ron Johnson got about 23% of the vote in 2022. Donald Trump got a little bit under 23% of the vote in 2020. He got over 24% of the vote, I believe, in 2016. Our baseline is 23%. In Dane County, if any statewide Republican, whether that's Donald Trump or Senate candidate Eric Hovde, want to be competitive, 23.
Okay.
We would like to get up to 24%. 24% is actually, a 2-point swing of a lot of thousands and thousands of raw votes.
That's right.
In the second biggest county, it's actually quite meaningful. And then if we hit 25% or above, it becomes extremely unlikely that we lose Wisconsin. There are just so many votes here. So 23, and you have to do really well everywhere else. 24, we'd like to hit 25% and over. We win the state.
Yeah. And so one of my benchmarks, I love that. So let's just increase a couple percent. Well, let's talk about that because in 2020, Brandon, we had a election between Biden and Trump in 2020, and Biden won 49.4%. This is my data nerd coming out of me. 49.4% or 1.63 million voters, which, by the way, it's not that crazy of turnout. I mean, I think we can get 1.75 this year on the Republican side. So it's 49.4% versus 48.8. That is a difference of 0.6% or 20,000 votes. Incredible, incredible. 20,000 votes. I mean, to have 100 people that registered yesterday at UW Madison is just such a delight to hear because we're breaking that down. And so 49.4% versus 48.8%. We're talking about 20,000 votes. Now, guys, listening on this recording, this call, it's mostly going to be recording for all the other volunteers. Your vote, your registration drives, when you show up, I want 3 more volunteers in the next 2 weeks to contact the Dane GOP county office and Brandon Maly here to let him know you want to come phone bank, you want to come put up yard signs, you want to door knock. We need 3 more volunteers. So, Brandon, that's one of my benchmarks on this call. Does that sound good?
It's a good benchmark. We've gotten we basically revamped the county party in the last year and a half. For many, many years, Republicans were demoralized in this county, and the county party wasn't where it should have been. We are taking the county to new heights. We've given out over 2,000 Trump signs, 200 4x8s going up in the county.
Wow.
We're just blowing away anything we did in 16 or 20. We've raised our county party. I think this is pretty good. In the last year, we've raised about $350,000.
Okay.
It's on par. That's puts us just behind Waukesha County.
Nice.
Every other county in the state, we've been out raising, and we're looking to raise at least $500,000 for this election.
Okay.
Because it's really up to us. Nobody else is coming to save Dane County. Nobody else is coming to save these blue areas. We've got to grab ourselves by the bootstraps and do the work ourselves and do the texts and the mailers.
Yeah.
And reach out to all of these low propensity reds. So yeah, those are really good benchmarks. We will be ramping up our get out the vote efforts coinciding with the early vote period in Wisconsin.
Could you tell us when that period is?
Yeah, September 19th, the early ballots, the mail-in absentee ballots get mailed. People will start to receive them on September 23rd. We're going to be kicking things off that weekend.
Okay.
And we will be having Super Chase events led by Turning Point Action.
Nice.
Phone banking Monday nights in our office.
Okay.
Postcards Monday nights in our office. Phone banking on Thursday nights. And, leading up to the election, those 4 days, every single day, we're going to have a Super Chase event, knocking on doors in the key areas of Dane County, all 4 days leading up.
Awesome. So let me hop in. I like to do transition points in some of my X spaces because some people want to hear about the key facts, the who, what, where, when, why, how. And I like to transition a little bit and talk about why Dane County, what's interesting about the county, right? So I did some research and we're super excited about doing those. And I'm going to reiterate some of the key events like the Lincoln Reagan dinner as well. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But in the meantime, Dane County, 600,000 people. Madison has 260,000 people, very large populated areas. Sun Prairie to follow, there's the second largest, Fitchburg, Middleton, Verona, Wenatchee, right? Hopefully I pronounced that correctly, but really key areas, outside of Madison, like Sun Prairie, Fitchburg, Middleton, Verona. If you guys are hearing me from those counties, please make sure to show up at the Dane GOP office and help Brandon volunteer. Other interesting facts, and again, this sounds like a non sequitur, but it's just kind of funny, and I like to bring a little humor to it. But actually, Chris Farley is from Dane County. Hilarious. I didn't know. Did you even know that, Brandon?
Chris Farley.
Probably before your time. Yeah.
Yeah, but I really enjoyed going back on YouTube and watching. Newt Gingrich invited him to speak before a House committee, and he basically just mocked Gingrich, and Gingrich was laughing the whole time, and Republicans were all in good spirits. Those were different times.
I know, they were good times. That's right. And Tommy Thompson's former governor of Wisconsin, secretary of HHS, some interesting characters. You got this sort of polar opposite. You got the hilarious comedian, God bless, rest in peace. And then you've got some leaders out of there, but it's an interesting county and specific, the reason I bring that up in sort of little facts about Dane is because it's got a part of American culture, American sort of the heartland of America, right? The Midwest. Talk to us, Brandon. We haven't even, we just talked a few times on the phone. I've gotten to know you. I've donated, just made a donation, announced that a few days ago. So I'm happy to contribute to that 500K goal. But talk to me about what the main issues that voters on the ground in Dane are talking about. If you could rank them top three, what are voters saying? I'm voting for Trump because of X, Y, and Z.
Well, we really have two categories of issues here. We have people that come into our office or interact with us in some form, and they tell us, immigration and the weaponization of government and all of those other things, economy. But for the low propensity Republicans and swing voters that we want to win over, Dane County is a really interesting place. The crime issue doesn't really work here, and not a lot of issues sway people here. So I'm telling the Trump surrogates on the ground and all the other Republicans campaigning here, it's the economy, economy, economy.
Okay, well,
That's the issue that's moving
sure.
in Dane County, because people have been wired here, even
Okay.
if they're a little bit conservative with some of their values, family values, et cetera, et cetera. They have been wired to vote Democrat, but enough people are hurting badly
Yeah.
in this county and in this state that when I go into the bank and I talk to a Hispanic teller, they say, I regret voting for Biden. I want a better economy. I can't afford groceries. You go to the grocery store, you talk to the cashier in Dane County, you hear the same thing. So it's really the economy here.
It's the economy, right? It's the economy, stupid. It's the fact that just today, actually, I mean, if you guys are watching CNBC, which I like Fox Business better, but both of them, we had some unemployment numbers that came out today, and I think it's important we pay attention to these. There's been consistent Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 revisions, right? I mean, just consistent with this administration. And I think it's important, if there's a takeaway from the message, the substantive message that we need to communicate to voters, right? A salient message on the ground in Dane and around that area. I think Brandon's right. We got to talk about the economy. We got to talk about inflation. We got to talk about, everybody's feeling the pinch. And specifically, the idea that the jobs numbers that the Biden Harris administration, the cronies there are reporting are false, 100% false. And so it's so unequivocally important that on the ground, if the economy is different, right? I talked to folks outside of Philadelphia and Northampton and Dauphin and Centre County, all these areas, and they're talking about crime and immigration. Well, guess what? Immigration will be an issue if we don't fix it by November 5th. But Brandon, I think that's an important point. Pay attention to the news. The news is not great for Kamala and her administration with the economy. And so I want you all to hammer that in on the ground from a substantive message. I work with many people within the Trump campaign in several states now, been blessed to just help as a GOP advisor. And that is a great message, Brandon, for you to bring to voters, is the economy, economy, economy. So important. In other places like Pennsylvania, closer to Philly, it's immigration and the border invasion that border czar Kamala has brought us. Let's switch over, Brandon, because I know you've only got about 10 more minutes left. I want to talk about something that's a little bit more personal. I've gotten to see your tweets, and everybody make sure you're following Brandon. His handle is right there on the profile, so make sure you follow Brandon and give him some love. But I've noticed something, Brandon, that's very important to you, which is the idea that you're a Jewish Republican. Beautiful. Talk to me what the importance of Israel, the importance of why that issue is important to you in your life, and what motivates you to get that message out.
Well, look, my family came as Jewish refugees to this country from the former Soviet Union. So that's always driven me politically. That's why I've been involved in politics in one form or another for the last 10 years. And I firmly believe we have to save this country from communism and save it from anti-Semitism, because anti-Semitism actually results in a worse quality of life for everyone. You look at quality of life in the most anti-Semitic cities and anti-Semitic countries in the world, it's not good. It's not good for anybody. It's the oldest form of hatred in in the world. And it's really interesting because after October 7th, even for those Jews that are not very religious, um, everybody everybody in the Jewish community could kind of feel it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Under attack.
Yeah.
Anti-Semitism's on the rise. I actually went to Israel. I spent a month there a little after October 7th. I did some volunteer work, and then we went to the very close to the border with Gaza, and I saw some of the areas that were devastated. I cannot tell people enough how amazing it is that there is a state of Israel, that they're fighting the terrorists on our behalf.
Yeah.
Iran and our enemies want to destroy not only Israel, but the United States.
Yep.
They're on the front lines. And we had some fantastic interactions yesterday with Jewish students. I told you we registered over 150 students yesterday. I talked to about 15, 20 Jewish students. Some of them were undecided on the election, but moving further and further away from the modern Democratic Party. They just weren't sure if they could get themselves to vote for Trump.
Yeah.
They were decidedly not supporting Kamala Harris. About 13 of the 15 that I spoke to walked away pretty sure they would be voting for President Trump back in the White House.
Well, and so let me give you my perspective on this because I went to Cornell University. I was the head of the Cornell Republicans. Gosh, talk about being a minority there in that regard. But there were many proud Jewish Republicans on campus. And I always said Israel's such an incredible ally. And in my world, in the tech space and tech entrepreneur stuff that I do, the Israelis are just such innovators and such passionate believers in free markets. And I think it's important that we understand just where we are with the Democrat Party and the incredibly disgusting anti-Semitism that's coming on college campuses. And I just saw it recently. If you look at the story out of Cornell, they've gone woke, and they're allowing pro-Hamas organizations to protest and rally on campus. I mean, pro-Hamas is literally to kill civilians, to kill innocent babies and human beings. It's absolutely disgusting. It's despicable what's happening on college campuses now. It's not even close to in the early 2000s when I was at Cornell, what it was like. I mean, it's just unbelievable. And so where is this anti-Semitism coming? And I'm gonna give you my perspective. I want to hear from Brandon, but guys, it's very simple. Who's funding this? Two people. Number one, George Soros, his crony network. We all know that he's a behind the scenes Democrat donors funding these radical DAs in large cities, making America terrible, right? And we need to make America great. Who else is doing it? Well, there's one country, and it happened when Trump left office. Iran. Iran is a major threat to the United States, and we have to really be strong. And we wouldn't have had this insane deal that Biden made, giving billions of dollars in exchange for hostages. Iran is behind the scenes interfering with our election, period. And they're funding these radical pro-Hamas groups on campuses in the heart of America, in places just like where Brandon works and lives and breathes as a Jewish American. It's disgusting. It's despicable. And just so you know, even if Israel's not your thing, or you're not pro one way or another, again, I prefer no wars, no conflicts, peace through strength. That's my personal belief. We have to make college campuses and universities accepted, students, Jewish Americans accepted there. And to not do that is just despicable. I saw it at my own place. So, Brandon, thank you for sharing those words. Is there anything else you wanted to add to that?
Yeah, it comes from three places. You're absolutely correct that some of it is paid. The rest falls into two categories: the ignorant and the hateful. So it's paid, it's ignorance, and it's hate. And that is a very destructive combination.
Mhm.
You usually see it coming more in history from left-wing ideologies than right-wing ideologies.
That's right.
When people say that there are those on the far right that are anti-Semitic, we don't put our anti-Semites in Congress the way that the left does.
That's right.
To leave.
That's right.
The squad hates not only Jews, they hate Christians, they hate white men, and they hate this country.
So that's something I was trying behind the scenes. I'll say it now. I did my best with Elon Omar to to motivate some folks on the ground. She's got these Soros-backed groups behind her, these anti-Israelis, these anti-Semites, which is really what it is, and it's really sad to see. But we've got to get them out of office. They're insane people. The AOCs, the Ilhan Omars, the Rashid Tlaibs, they're just insane to be so anti-American, to be anti Jewish people is to be anti-American, right? It's just unbelievable. So I really appreciate you saying that. And actually, I'm going to make this point because you all know, if you go to my YouTube channel right now, I want you to look at the beautiful photo behind me of the man who's going to win in November. Go to Ross is Right on YouTube right now, subscribe and look at that. And my buddy Leo, who's down in Dallas, he's been hearing me. We've worked together before. A great guy. Thanks for tuning in, Leo the Lion. Appreciate you, brother. But go to my YouTube channel, Ross is Right. Look at me with my beautiful hat and that behind me. That man is going to stop. The guy behind me on whichever shoulder, my left shoulder, is going to stop the anti-Semitism on campuses. If you burn a flag, you're going to go to jail for a year. If you protest on campuses for pro-Hamas and you cause destruction to federally funded, subsidized universities like the University of Wisconsin at Madison, we will take away your funding, period. End of story. It's time we stand up for this anti-Semitism. It's despicable. And it just drives me absolutely wild that any campus, and the Cornell, thank God, the Cornell president had to resign because she was so feckless and so weak on this issue. But we've got to stand up. And by the way, as Trump says, if you're Jewish and you don't vote for him, you should have your head examined. And it's so true, because the Jewish population, whether moving the embassy to Jerusalem, whether supporting Israel, whether through tech startups and innovation, et cetera, has done nothing but been the best ally we could ever imagine in the Middle East. And they're getting persecuted by every single nation. It's just incredible to see. And guys, thank you for listening to me that, because I think it's so important, Brandon, that we protect and we preserve the culture in so many ways. I appreciate that. We're going to talk about events next. So in the next segment is just talking about events. What do we do? We've only got a few minutes left here. We're going to wrap by call to action. I want to talk about three things. So there are three events I read on your site, which is Dane. Let me go to the exact site. DaneGOP.org? Is that right, Brandon?
Yeah, DaneGOP.org.
Beautiful. DaneGOP.org. Go on there. Give them $50 right now if you could, or over the next week or two. I gave him $1,000 last week at 11 p.m. at night because I read a story while I was laying in bed. I'm like, oh my gosh, man, we got to give some love, man. The RNC is not, I want them to give you guys more support, but I'm going to do it in the meantime. How's that sound? So there are three events that I read on your site. September 10th, you've got the Red Mouse Crossplane, September 10th at 7 p.m. That's the debate watch party. Is that right, Brandon?
Yes, it is.
All right. So that's a great opportunity. You guys, if you want to watch the debate and go meet Brandon, are you going to be there, right?
I will be there, and I'm looking forward to seeing some new faces.
Okay, have a beer for me, brother. Appreciate that. That's going to be September 10th, the Red Moose in Cross Plains. Second, we've got election integrity training on September 12th or October 22nd. Did I get that right?
Yes.
Rock and roll, man. I do a little work behind the scenes. We gotta represent and hold it down for Dane. And then third, oh my gosh, I'm so jealous I can't be here. Can you tell me about the 2024 Lincoln Reagan Day dinner at 6 p.m. in Middleton?
That's going to be the premier Wisconsin Republican event from here on out to the election.
Beautiful.
This is going to be 3 days after President Trump is sentenced in New York. To what he will be sentenced, we do not know. But his lawyer and Fox News contributor, if you will, Alina Habba, will be there. Alina told us that even if they sentence President Trump to prison, she will be with us. That will be one of her first appearances in front of an audience after the sentencing. We'll also have Congressman Tom Tiffany, future Senator Eric Hovde, and some more special guests to be announced. And it is going to be one of the largest gatherings of conservatives in the Madison area in a very long time.
That is such a cool. I mean this. You know, I'm dead serious. I wish I could be there. You guys just are so amazing to have Alina Habba, who's been helping represent Trump, and it's going to be right after that sentencing, which I'm doing a whole video on my TikTok, Ross is Right, as well as YouTube about the sentencing. I'm a non-practicing attorney. I've read everything. I've read all the research, and I think there's a chance that this president, our president 45, will be president 47, will be sentenced. And so this is some major election interference. I want you guys to go to the Dane GOP website, Dane County GOP website, and reserve a seat for me, please. I'm going to be probably traveling to Pennsylvania, down in Georgia. I've got a couple other things going on, but I'm going to tell you, you got to go and show up at 1313 John Hammond's Drive, Middleton, Wisconsin, on the what day did we say that was? That is the 20
September 21st.
Beautiful. Okay.
Great night.
Okay, that's huge. And then Eric Hovde, I just donated to him as well. Man, we've got to win that U.S. Senate seat. I mean, that is such an important Senate seat for us.
Absolutely. And Ross, I've got to go, but
Yeah.
I'll leave your listeners with this. Dane County, I repeat it over and over and over again, and it doesn't cease to amaze people.
Yeah.
Dane County has the third most Republican votes in the state of Wisconsin. It shocks people. I will continue to say it. And check out our website, danegop.org. Volunteer, donate. We need your help. Wisconsin is Donald Trump's electoral college insurance policy.
That's right. Well, and I'm gonna wrap in a couple minutes here. You guys stick with me as Brandon hops. But Brandon, thank you so much for your time. Reach out to me offline for any advice or any strategy you want to talk about. I'm here to help you guys. I'm so delighted to be part of this great movement. I recommend you go to their website, check out their events. If you're not there, you can still reach out to him. And if you want to volunteer, just reach out to him. His Twitter handle is there. I'm going to call in a couple speakers just to wrap up. I invited my homie Leo. You got to come in and say hi, man. He's just a rock star down in Texas. And hopefully he sees the light now in Trump, man. I've been trying to convince him for God knows how long. And then I also want to get Tommy in as well. So let me start in with Tommy, and then Leo the Lion next. How are you doing, Tommy?
I love it. Ross is the only one in Spaces that goes by my actual first name. Everybody else calls me Postcards.
Well, you told me your name once, so I didn't forget it. I didn't forget your name when you told me once. Go ahead, brother. Good to hear from you.
Yeah, so I have Brandon here. It's too bad he couldn't stick around, but I know he's got a million things to do, as a lot of people do. In that Dane County, we talked about the difference in Wisconsin. It was 20,700 votes statewide. I mean, just a drop in the bucket. In Dane County alone, that difference was 181,000. So the Dane County difference was 7x.
Wow.
Statewide difference. Is that mind blowing or what?
That is incredible. And we're talking about 20,000 vote difference in the election between Biden and Trump in 2020. I mean, incredible.
So if you narrow that difference in Dane County, like that alone can win the whole state.
Yeah.
Without even improving anywhere else, but we want to improve everywhere else. And my idea to you, Ross, is I want to get a video done, or multiple videos, where we have people who were hesitant to vote early or vote by mail in the past, swapthevoteusa.com. And we explain it to them, and then they go and vote early, vote by mail, and then they're happy about it and realize, like, wow, that was so easy and safe and confident. We should all do.
Good call. Good point. I love it. I mean, I can't tell you, if you're writing postcards, get the swamphthevoteusa.com website on your postcard. It's easier than this PA voter services crap. I know there's just people within the early vote action that just keep writing the same postcard over and over again. I'm like, guys, go to my profile at Ross Blankenship. Look at the example I gave of a solid postcard, the messaging, the branding. Hopefully you saw that, Tommy. And then put a different domain, a different website, because this PA voter service is crazy. But the point you're making, though, I think is important, which is that the margin is so significant in Dane that if we just make a little bit of headway, we can swing the election and Trump can win Wisconsin. So thank you for that insight, Tommy. Hey, keep inviting me every so often. I can come in and speak when I got the time. And you're doing a wonderful job, man. I don't know how many Red Bulls you drink a day, but I'm jealous. I drink Celsius, actually, but good work for you, man. Just rock and roll. We're so blessed.
Yeah, helps a little bit too.
Oh, they're the Zimbabweans. as I'm away from tobacco for 7, 8, 9 years. But I understand that the draw in some regards. So congrats to you. Or not congrats, but keep doing what you're doing. Hey, by the way, Kamal's probably going to ban Zen, so stock up. Let's move on to Mr. I know, right? You're funny. Let's head on to Leo. Leo, I just want to say hi, man. No formal thing, but have I almost convinced you about Trump? Hopefully he's here. I invited him to speak. This will be interesting. I haven't talked to him in a minute. He's been celebrating birthday, doing party things down in Dallas. But I invited you to speak, Leo. So feel free, my man, to hop in at any time. And then we've got another speaker who I always say hi. Sherry, if I'm calling on you and you want to talk, I just want to say hello because every time I see your beautiful penmanship and your writing and how many postcards you've done, can you give us an update on your postcard writing? So I've invited them. So just hang tight. Sometimes it takes a second. All right. And if their audio's off, I'm just gonna kind of bring it back home and I'll give it about a 30-second rock and roll socially. Sherry, how are you?
I'm good. I'm actually writing a few postcards before I head out to go mail some postcards and make friends for breakfast.
Patriot, love it.
Yeah. So I'm approaching. I went over 500 now. So and I'm
Amazing.
thing about going to swap the vote.
Yes, good.
I'm doing that. So yeah, just kind of doing that. And I was saying I'm trying to see if I can find a way to get out to Wisconsin. I've got family there.
Yeah, you mentioned that. Where's your family out there?
Madison, and then up in the Green Bay area.
Okay, beautiful.
Hoping to get there, but like I said, just working away on postcards, doing my thing.
I love it. Hey, so every time I see you on, I want to say thank you so much. You were part of our postcard Trump 2024 postcard competition. I can't wait to. By the way, I bought every single postcard at 4 different post office locations, so I'm trying to get them. I've got about 900, 1,000. I'm trying to get 2,000 so I can start shipping those out. No joke. You'll see it soon.
No worries at all. I appreciate everything, and I'm just thankful being in California and that there are so many of us that have a way to get involved. Because sometimes I'm here, we feel helpless as Trump supporters, or independents, anybody supporting kind of a change. So it's nice to really have all these things available to us to be able to make a difference.
Oh, it really does. And when you're talking, I know our focus has been Pennsylvania, and it's great to hear that you might go out to Madison to visit family and help volunteer. Go say hi to Mr. Brandon if you would for me. But thank you again for writing so many postcards. If you guys are listening and you're hearing the recording, because it is mid-morning, it's kind of a quieter time, go and download 2 apps, right? 2, because some have more information than the other. Go to Turning Point Action, and download their app. It's beautiful. And a very similar app that will have different data points is Early Vote Action. That's where, if you're not in these states and you want to contribute to the Get Out the Vote campaign, those are the apps that will help accelerate that movement. So again, Early Vote Action, Turning Point Action, those are 2 iOS and Android apps that you can go and download and start writing postcards from home. I mean, we have this beautiful woman named Marcella. She's out in California. I think San Bernardino, I can't even pronounce it, but San Bernardino, California. And she's written somewhere close to 4, 5, 6,000 postcards. She's incredible. Follow her. Follow, my profile. She and I exchange quite a bit because she's just so phenomenal. But thank you again, Sherry. Appreciate you being on the call. Raise your hand if I've invited you and you can hop in for a quick moment. I'd love to hear from different voices before we wrap. We've got about 2 to 3 more minutes left. Anybody that wants to say hello, I will say, hey, let me look at your profile screen because we don't want to be bombed by the Kamala campaign. But please raise your hand if you'd like to say hello and just talk about the importance of Trump winning in 2024. And if not, that's okay too.
Hey, Ross, last night we had a space and we were talking about getting out the vote. We had a Kamala supporter there tagging Kamala HQ and saying, hey, they have great info on how to get out the vote here.
Well, that's about the biggest waste of time on the face of the planet for them. But also what's interesting about the Kamala HQ is that the Kamala HQ lies. Kamala HQ lies is the profile to follow, because what I saw last night on Kamala HQ was the most disgusting thing I've seen from a political campaign in the history of all the campaigns that I've worked. They posted some nonsense about JD Vance, and I'm sure you saw this, Tommy, but JD Vance, as if he said that this school shooting was something that's just would obviously happen. It's incredible. These people are despicable. We win by voicing, we will win this election, the MAGA movement, the MAHA movement of RFK, by vocalizing our policies. We don't need to lie. We tell the facts. But it's funny that somebody hopped on your call. Let them waste their time, Tommy. Let them waste their time. We're going to keep winning. We're not afraid of press conferences. We're not afraid of press interviews. We're going to show up. We're going to win. We're going to vote early, period. End of story. Anybody else that wants to hop on, please raise your hand or forever hold your peace. And if not, no worries. Guys, go to my YouTube channel. I just started it like 2 weeks ago. I think it's hilarious to just look at myself most of the time. Funny. Go check out that funny picture I just got in the back. Well, it's not funny. It's pretty awesome. And I want to say thank you to all the Patriots. Okay, let's see here. All right. I might have to get you Reichstrider a little bit more before I bring you on. I love that you're from Argentina, though. What a beautiful country. The steak there is incredible. Ooh, the food. My God. God bless you. I'm going to invite you. If you want to just message me, DM, I want to get to know you a little bit before I hop on the call here. But Argentina, Viva Argentina. Love that country. Beautiful place. By the way, you can eat red meat in Argentina, but if Kamal is elected, no mas red meat. No mas carne rojo, right, Leo? So beautiful country. Message me, DM me if you want to be part of these calls, because I do want to invite more people in the fold. Guys, I am so blessed. Appreciate you all so much for being here. You're all patriots, great Americans. We've got to get out the vote. As I always say in each call, follow me at Ross Blankenship if you want to be part of the Trump 2024 campaign. I love being an advisor to these battleground states. And also make sure that you are doing something. So my last end point is this. I say this all the time. My dad Dr. Blankenship is a physician in Northeast Texas, not too far from Leo down there in Dallas. He's a nephrologist. So he treats kidney diabetes and type 2 diabetics who have end-stage renal disease. There's a bunch of mouthful there. But if you're on dialysis, my dad owns dialysis clinics. He's a very successful startup guy, poor as hell, from Omaha, Nebraska. Very successful dude. Love him. God bless my dad if he's listening to this. I'll probably talk to him after. But my point is this. Every patient asks the same thing of Dr. B. They say, Dr. B, which diet should I be on? It's the most common question. If you're type 2 diabetic, you got to lose weight, keep your insulin levels at bay, etc. And my dad says the best thing. It's one of my favorite things he's ever said. He says, listen, I don't care what diet you're on, what diet you're on. You could be low carb, low sugar, low sodium, low potassium, low fat, whatever. Just pick a diet. Pick a diet. Anything will work. One might work better than the other. One might not, right? Simple. But all diets work, period. Don't listen to these fitness gurus. You heard it from Ross. Ross is right. You're hearing it from me. My point of this is bringing that analogy to the campaign. If you want to get involved with Trump 2024, if you want to make a difference, we only have 60 days left. Just do something, period. End of story. Whether that's postcards, whether that's phone banking, find your local GOP office. Say hello. Spend an hour a day between now and the election, which is, I think, 59 days or so. It's incredible. Just pick a diet. Go do something. Go make a difference. Because as we just talked with the Dane County GOP chair, 20,000 vote margin in the last election. Every person on this call and the people out there that hear this recording, you make a difference. God bless you, Patriots. Love you all. So blessed to be part of this movement. Go follow me. Let's do something. Let's connect these volunteers and make a difference. We're going to win Pennsylvania and we're going to win Wisconsin too. Let's do it, baby. Have a great day, guys, and a wonderful weekend. Great conversation. Amazing people.